Hi, and welcome to the Wednesday Word. It is said that we see no more than we expect to see. Our stereotyped notions block clear vision and crowd out imagination. This happens without any alarm sounding, so we never realize it is occurring. There was a man who sat at a metro station in Washington, D.C., and started to play the violin. It was a cold January morning. He played 6 Bach pieces for about 45 minutes. During that time, since it was rush hour, it was calculated that thousands of people went through the station. One man stopped for a few seconds and then hurried on to meet his schedule. A little later, a woman threw a dollar bill into the till without stopping, continued on her way. The first person who paid the most attention was a 3-year-old boy. But finally the mother hurried the child along, but he kept turning his head all the time. This action was repeated by several other children. In the 45 minutes the musician played, only 6 people stopped and listened for a while. About 20 gave money, but continued to walk at their normal pace. The man collected a total of $32. When he finished playing and silence took over, no one noticed it. No one applauded, nor was there any recognition. No one knew this, but the violinist was Joshua Bell, one of the best musicians in the world. He played one of the most intricate pieces ever written with a violin worth over $3.5 million. 2 days before his playing in the subway, Joshua Bell sold out a theater in Boston where the seats averaged $100 each. Joshua Bell played incognito in the metro station, and this was organized by the Washington Post as part of a social experiment. Because he was playing in a subway station, people assumed he was a street musician, playing for handouts and paid no attention to his music. They saw and heard what they expected to see and hear from a street musician. This experiment raised several questions. In a commonplace environment, at an inappropriate hour, do we perceive beauty? If so, do we stop to appreciate it? Do we recognize talent in an unexpected context? If we do not have a moment to stop and listen to one of the best musicians in the world, playing some of the finest music ever written with one of the most beautiful instruments ever made, how many other things are we missing as we rush through life? That's a good question. How many things do we see, but not really see? When I worked for the railroad, at one point I had a job driving a forklift in the shops. Now everyone had to wear hard hats and safety glasses and were dressed in work clothes. I was always surprised when I would see someone from work at the mall or at a store and not recognize them at first. When we took the person out of their environment we normally see them in, we didn't recognize them. How many things do we normalize because we are so used to seeing it? Are we used to seeing homeless people sleeping on the streets? What if that person would be sleeping on our front porch? Talk about bringing something home. I believe that would get our attention. That would be hard not to really see. It is amazing how many things we get used to seeing in our day-to-day lives, and it's hard not to get complacent. And once we become complacent about some things, it becomes easier to just accept the things the way they are. Our senses become dull. We don't hear the people or even really see the people that are crying out for help. It just becomes routine. The words Christian and complacent should never be in the same sentence. The spiritual drive from God is dimmed, almost extinguished. So you could call us out of order Christians. We need a tune-up, maybe some new spark plugs. We need a wake-up call. A wake-up call so we can see all that is around us. The good, the bad, and the hurting. So, have a beautiful week, but don't forget to smell the roses, hear the music, and most of all, see the people.